Hello, my name is Al-Mosawi, and in this video, I'd like to talk about how to maintain motivation because many of us get burnt out very quickly, especially when we're not seeing any progress towards the goals we want to achieve. And this is actually at the root of the problem of motivation because many of us, what's happening is that we're fixated, we're thinking just about the goal we want to achieve and not how far we've come. There's an executive coach called Dan Sullivan, and he presented one of my favorite concepts in personal development, which is the distinction between the gap and the gain. The gap is between where we are and where we want to be. The gain is the distance we've already covered from where we were to where we are right now. Unfortunately, many ambitious people, they completely dismiss the gain. They actually forget about the gain because they're so fixated on where they want to be. So what is prevalent in their thinking is the gap. Why am I not where I want to be? Why am I not where I want to be? And so they overlook the progress that they've already made, which is why they get demotivated and they don't feel like they can continue pursuing the goal because they have not recognized the progress that they're making. I mentioned this because I don't want you to lose your ambition. I don't want you to lose your motivation. Being highly motivated highly ambitious, so having grand goals is a great thing. I want to encourage you to continue having those ambitious goals. But if you're pursuing ambitious goals while overlooking your progress, you are undermining your ambition because recognizing the progress that you've made will continue to sustain your motivation for you to continue pursuing your goals. And I know many people who are ambitious and have achieved great things, but they fail to recognize them and they don't feel satisfied in their lives because everything they've already accomplished, they've turned away from. They're no longer thinking about or recognizing what they've already accomplished because they're fixated on the gap, where they are and where they want to be. And if you remind yourself that actually a few years from now, I would have loved being where I am today, you will cultivate a sense of gratitude for what you've already accomplished. And satisfaction, gratitude are really important things to cultivate and to experience in order to live a great life. Because if you're only thinking about ambition, if you're only thinking about what to accomplish next and failing to recognize what you've already accomplished, you will always feel dissatisfied. And the analogy would be like someone who's thirsty for a sense of achievement, but drinking seawater in order to quench that thirst. And the seawater is only going to make you feel more thirsty. There's actually a psychological component to this, as well as a physiological component. So psychologically, we're talking ourselves out of celebrating our achievements because we think there's this idea virus that if we celebrate our achievements, if we feel satisfied and happy with what we've achieved, it will take away from our ambition. But hopefully you're starting to think that this is not the case. Celebrating what you've already accomplished, celebrating the progress, will help you sustain your motivation in order to pursue greater things, in order to continue feeling inspired to pursue great things. So it does not take away from ambition, it fuels further ambition. So that's one thing. The recognizing progress should be part of our pursuit of ambition, and we should not talk ourselves out of celebrating what we've already accomplished. One thing. Then physiologically, that's on the psychological front. Physiologically, we have a dopamine system that uses dopamine, the hormone, in order to get us motivated in anticipation of something good happening. So when you're pursuing a goal, when you're planning for something that you don't currently experience, then the dopamine system is at work to build up your anticipation, to get you motivated to pursue the things you want to pursue. But what the dopamine system also does is that it regulates, or maybe I think it's called down-regulate. So when you achieve something, it's already in the past, you have already achieved it, there's nothing to anticipate. The dopamine system corrects in order to downplay what you've already accomplished so you can anticipate something else. The dopamine system is focused on the future, and what it's telling you is, now that you've accomplished this thing, it no longer matters, because what the dopamine system feeds on is the future prospect of success, the future prospect of accomplishment. So if we run purely on dopamine, then this is what's happening. We get down-regulated, or the dopamine system adjusts, it resets, so that it does not care about what's happening in the past, and it only cares about the future. But the dopamine system is not the only system at play. I don't understand the physiological systems, hormones, things like that well, but I do understand that aspect of the dopamine system, and that we shouldn't run on dopamine alone. We should recognize that dopamine does want us to plan for the future. We should not dismiss this. This is a great thing, but we also should recognize the role of celebrating past achievements in order to sustain our motivation and in order to fuel ourselves to pursue greater things. Gratitude is an amazing attitude to have towards life. It really does enhance the quality of life right now. You don't need to wait, because a lot of people rob themselves of the opportunity to be happy, to experience joy now, because they've tied happiness to a future condition. I will only be happy if I achieve X. But what ends up happening, as I've just mentioned, if we're constantly downplaying our successes, if we're saying, okay, what I've already achieved does not matter, what matters is the next thing, what ends up happening is we don't ever experience happiness or experience joy, not because the conditions don't exist, it's because we've tied happiness and joy to reaching the horizon, and the horizon is not a goal we will ever be able to reach. That's why it's important to have high ambition, but also celebrate the progress we've made, acknowledge the gap, but also acknowledge the gain. And if you want to remain ambitious, remain motivated, you need to think about both and to really lean into the gain, the progress you've already made, being grateful for it, looking at the things that are in your life, and instead of just identifying what you want to change, identify the things that have already changed and identify the good things in your life that have always existed. They have always been a part of your life, but you may have filtered out because you're constantly obsessed with the gap and where you want your life to be. So what's already great about your life? What have you already accomplished, but you may have tuned out, you may have filtered mentally because you've been obsessed about the gap? Again, I want you to be ambitious. I want you to pursue greater things. I want you to think about the gap between where you are and where you want to be, but not to overlook the gain you've already achieved. I hope this video was useful, and if you want to watch more of these videos, please sign up to or subscribe to the channel. I'm currently doing a 100 video challenge to produce 100 videos on a variety of subjects, mostly related to personal development, but also maybe content creation, my experience recording these YouTube videos, and other related topics. If there's something on your mind that you would like me to address as well, feel free to leave me a comment, or if you know me from other platforms, feel free to DM me on those channels, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, and see you in the next video.